Hi everyone, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. If this is your first time visiting this channel, hi, I am Entelecheia. The focus of my work is on developing deeper, more meaningful engagement with yourself, with the world, and with other people through the spiritual and religious philosophy known as Thelema. This is the second video that I'm doing in a series covering themes from the introduction to my book, Erotic Liberation. Erotic Liberation is a collection of lectures that I gave between the years 2018 and this year. It covers a wide variety of topics from beginner all the way up through advanced. I answer questions such as, what is Thelema, what is true will, and magic. I talk about the relationship between beauty and aesthetics and spirituality. I talk about the question of what makes a meaningful life and how magic might contribute to that. I also talk about spirituality that is intrinsic to Ordo Templi Orientis. So there are essays in there on the Gnostic Mass and on our initiation ceremonies. So Erotic Liberation is not a systematic work, but in the introduction to the book, I talk about various themes that tie all of the different essays together. So in the last video, I talked about the theme of the dynamic interplay of Nuit and Hadit. So if you haven't seen that one, you may want to go back and watch it because this one kind of builds on that. And it covers what I call the evolutionary framing of Thelema. So last time we looked at how the absolute or the Kabbalistic zero expresses itself in terms of two opposed principles. So Nuit is the cause of being or form, and Hadit is the cause of change. What we find present in one principle, we find absent in the other, and vice versa. So Nuit is pure form or pure being, which is changeless and undifferentiated. Hadit, on the other hand, is just pure becoming, pure change without any kind of form. So because Hadit is pure becoming, he has no properties, no form, no personality to him. Meanwhile, because Nuit is pure undifferentiated being, she doesn't have any change. No changes or any kind of differentiation occur in her. But Nuit and Hadit combine to create finite beings. Once they combine, Hadit is no longer pure change. He is the cause of the change of one appearance into another. He is the cause of the change of form. So the power of change comes from Hadit, but the forms that undergo those changes come from Nuit. Similarly, once she is combined with Hadit, Nuit is no longer pure undifferentiated being or form. She is the form or the appearance of a particular individual. And especially in the case of a living being, she is going to be the essence or appearance of that being. Especially in the case of a living being, its form or its appearance constrains the changes happening within it in various ways. So for example, there are many changes happening inside of my body right now. The trillions of cells that make up my body are metabolizing nutrients. They are undergoing division. They are dying. But these changes are not happening randomly. They are happening in such a way that they give rise to and express an integrated whole of an organism. The changes are happening in such a way that they express a unity of my being. If the changes happening in my body started to occur in a random fashion, if they were no longer expressing a unity, for example, if I suddenly sprouted a hand from the side of my face or grew a new organ or tumor, that would be the breakdown of the unity of my being, and that would be the breakdown of my health and my vitality as an organism. I would probably be dying. On the other hand, if the changes in my body suddenly ceased, if I started entering into stasis, I would also similarly be dying at that point. There wouldn't be enough change going on within me to sustain my life. So even though these two principles, Nuit and Hadit, are opposed to one another, they combine, they come together to create individuals that are constantly changing over time. In order for an individual to thrive, it needs both unity of form and constant change. The change has to be constrained in such a way that it gives rise to and supports the integral unity of the organism. You can think of this on analogy with Darwinian evolution. So Hadit is like the principle of variation. He gives rise to an infinite multiplicity of changes from one thing to another, or what Crowley calls events. On the other hand, Nuit is like selection. Events that are highly likely to happen inside of me are unlikely to happen outside of me. On the other hand, events that are likely to happen outside of me have a very low chance of happening inside of me. This is the power of form. It is the power to constrain probabilities. While Darwinian evolution explains the dynamic change of species over time, the central truth of Thelema, which is the belonging together of Nuit and Hadit, explains the dynamic change of individuals over time. Not all changes are equal. From our perspective, certain changes enhance our unity and other changes serve to decompose our unity. Certain changes increase and enhance our powers and other changes make us weaker. Self-consciously working with change in our minds and in our bodies to increase our unity and to increase our physical powers, our intellectual powers, our spiritual and our moral powers is what Crowley refers to as love under will or magic. The true will of a person represents their maximal thriving. It's not exactly your ideal or finished form. Just like a crocodile has no finished form, it's still undergoing evolutionary change. You don't have a finished end state either. Instead, your true will is the formula by means of which you harness change so as to maximally extend and express your divinity across time. The world is constantly changing because of the activity of Hadit. For this reason, Crowley says that every change that occurs is an expression of the love of Hadit for Nuit. The ability to greet each change as it occurs, moment to moment, and to utilize it so that it expresses our higher unity or the divinity within us is what Crowley refers to as love under will or magic. So learning what your true will is, learning the formula of your optimal change, that's one particular task that you have to do. But the ability to apply that knowledge across your life in these constantly changing circumstances and to adapt to them, that's a lifelong task. That's an unending process of skill acquisition that you have to work on. So what do you think of these ideas? Do they sound compelling to you? Do they sound like total bullshit? Let me know in the comment section of the video. Also, if you find these ideas interesting, check out the book, Erotic Liberation. It is available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. There are links to buy it in the description of this video. Also, let me know if you want me to continue with this series. The next video I would do would be on how the individual is a complex system. So we would talk a bit about utilizing the natural energies of the body and the mind so that we can greet a constantly changing universe in a way that it enhances us and helps us express our divinity rather than suppressing it. And I'll also talk a bit about how magic and mysticism figure into that. So if that sounds cool, like something you want to hear about, leave a comment below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And until next time, love is the law, love under will.